So Dan, as we're kind of prepping for free agency, this news drops on ESPN on the eve of free agency on June 29th. Malik Beasley, impending free agent with the Detroit Pistons, was announced by Shams Charania of ESPN that he was the subject of a federal probe into allegations related to gambling on, NBA games and prop bets. And what terrible timing that is for Malik Beasley. Malik Beasley was set, according to my sources and people around the league, according to multiple reports, that he was about to get like a $40 million contract over 3 years. So I wanted to figure out, like, what's this all about? ESPN had this little note from David Purdom that there was a gambling source that said there was a game back in January 31st, 2023 that was flagged due to unusual betting activity and on the unders for his rebounds.
And that was when he was with the Milwaukee Bucks, right? That was before
correct.
He got to Detroit.
And the allegations are apparently about his Bucks season. So he comes off of the Lakers season, gets traded to the Lakers from Utah. The Lakers decline his roughly $16 million team option, and he's forced to sign a vet minimum deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. And they go to the playoffs. Things don't work out for Malik, but he signs a $6 million deal with the Detroit Pistons and has a season for the ages. He broke the franchise record, the Pistons franchise record for most three-pointers made in a season, and he did so by the All-Star break, which is just crazy. He's one of 5 players in NBA history who have made 300 three-pointers in a single season. He held the Minnesota Timberwolves three-point shooting record. And so I wanted to figure out, like, what is going on here? And I watched the film on that January 31st game from 2023 with the Bucks, and he had not 0 rebounds or 1 rebound or 2 rebounds, because all that unusual betting activity allegedly was coming in on the under, meaning he would not hit that 2.5 number. But Malik was getting like every rebound in sight. He had 6 rebounds in his short minutes. And I watched that film, like, that is not looking like a guy who's trying to get the unders. He's like flying across the floor. And so I started digging into the story and trying to figure out, like, what is this investigation about? And I came across this tweet from a account. A Knicks super fan had tweeted out in January 30th, the day that the Terry Rozier news came out, January 30th of this year, when Terry Rozier was part of this federal investigation, when he was announced, this account, FreeMoose_NBA, Dan, tweeted out that Malik Beasley was next. How did this person know? 3 months ago, before the Malik Beasley news came to light in June, right before free agency, this account had predicted that Malik Beasley was going to be, he did this cryptic thing. It was M********, B*******, and then followed up with a tweet saying, the player, there's going to be another player named in a federal investigation. I'm paraphrasing here. And he plays for the Detroit Pistons. So Dan, I don't know if you saw that tweet and was like, wait, but there's Miles Bridges. There's Mikal Bridges. And the one that I thought of too, that was kind of like in the little like game of like, what NBA player fits the M****, B* with that many letters? Matas Buzelis.
Ooh, that would be tough. But then, of course, helpfully noting what team the guy plays for. So that kind of eliminated all question marks here. So right. Tom, you've introduced a mystery. Did you then proceed to try to solve this mystery with any friends of yours on any platform that you want to highlight?
Yeah, Pablo Torre finds out. I called up Pablo and Amin, and I was like, listen, man, we got to get to the bottom of this. And I had done some of the research over at TomTheFinder.com and was like really trying to figure out like what is going on here with this story. And we come across this Moose thing and we go down this rabbit hole and discover that he is actually cousins to one of the alleged co-conspirators in the Jontay Porter case. And he had this tweet had kind of connected Jontay Porter, Terry Rozier, and Malik Beasley. And the reason why he was in the know on that or called his shot is because he's relatives with one of the people that the federal authorities arrested and is as charged and is in the middle of kind of figuring out the plea agreement. This guy also was sitting courtside at a Knicks game, the Knicks game, the Dante DiVincenzo shot of last year's postseason. We figured out that all these connections, crazy connections, and it leaves us wondering, like, how involved, if at all, is Malik Beasley in the Jontay Porter scandal or the investigation, and all of the things that he has already been. He's set to figure out his sentencing on that deal. He pled guilty to multiple counts. This is a very crazy story. I can't even begin to tell you how crazy it was working on it, but it is kind of indicative of this NBA right now, where we have the legalized gambling in America, and we're trying to navigate through these very rocky waters and figuring out, what happens from here. And I don't know what happens from here, Dan. Like, do you remember this guy, Free Moose, as a Knicks in the Knicks? Like, he apparently had like 10,000 followers in Knicks Twitter. He was like a little celebrity in Knicks Twitter. Sure. And he had this information months before everybody else.
Yeah. So I don't personally, I mean, it's possible you run across people. I don't remember this person, but also like I'm in that weird spot where, as like a person who writes about the stuff nationally, but is a Knicks fan and that hasn't made like a secret of that. I think a lot of Knicks fans think that I hate the Knicks. And so like Knicks Twitter, I think is often more virulent when I talk about the Knicks than I would expect. So I'm not like dug into the community like that. Like they had a Knicks Twitter day and I was not part of that day. But so I haven't run across them that I can recall. I was grateful though that, somebody was having a good time that night, because I was on deadline and I was not having a good time at the night of the Dante DiVincenzo double bang, triple bang, whatever that was. Yeah. Like, and I was like,
Madison Square Garden is shaking right now.
How's my breen? That's a phenomenal breen. And, but I definitely remember being on like the Sky Bridge and it's like, oh yeah, no, this is rattling and I feel unsafe. And then I had to write on deadline and I filed from an ATM vestibule that night, I think. Cool times professionally for me. Yeah. The Garden kicks you out after like 2 hours after the final press conference. So had to find some place to sit down and file. ATM vestibule. Good stuff. Knicks Twitter, of course, it's Knicks Twitter. It blew my mind finding out in the, I think your Tom the Finder like deleted scenes a little bit. This is a guy from Staten Island. I grew up on Staten Island around a lot of people who really wanted to make sure that you knew how plugged in they were and how much of a big shot they were. So finding out that this was one of those guys really made me laugh. I enjoyed that very much. Most alleged criminal operations, most conspiracies, alleged conspiracies will often wind up falling apart around a guy who wants to make sure that everybody knows how plugged in he is. So
that was a crazy thing, man. Like reporting this out was how many times this Moose account, this Moose character kept trying to remind people that he had the Malik Beasley stuff. And you have to sit there and be like, why is he The Big Short, the movie with Steve Carell, where it's like, why are they confessing? Why are they confessing? And it's like,
bragging.
No, they're bragging. Yes. And it's like, oh man. So I talked to Moose. I got him on the phone. He agreed to do it.
That blew my mind that he would get on the phone to talk about this, and not like in a I'm hiding my voice kind of way, but like I'm just chatting.
This is the same guy that was like telling people repeatedly since the Malik Beasley news came out from his burner account that we've discovered, his third account. The first one got suspended by Twitter X. He says he didn't know why it got suspended. I have my suspicions. He deleted his next one, the Free Moose account, which Free Moose because his original Moose and _ NBA account was suspended. Right. So he had this profile picture of him holding a moose, cartoon moose holding onto a jail bars. I'm telling you, man, this story is insane. Then he started this other one. And then when the Malik Beasley news came out, he was like, hey, don't forget who had it. So where it goes from here, I don't know. Staten Island, Knicks fans, all of it. Carmelo Anthony pops up in this story. Not that we know him to like be part of this investigation, but he appeared to high five and dap up one of the alleged co-conspirators in the Jontay Porter case 5 days after Jontay Porter was announced to be banned for life.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Like many aspects of this are absurd to the point of being funny, and then there's the parts of it that are not. And so I think that was the more serious takeaway that I had after listening to it was just like, and this is maybe my naivety showing when it comes to the world of gambling and other things associated with it. I had believed that the Jonte Porter story was one thing, and the Terry Rozier story was one thing, and the Malik Beasley story was a different thing. And hearing at least two of those dots, if not directly connected, then like put together, made me think like, oh, this is maybe all one thing. And if it's all one thing, then maybe it's a bigger thing. And if it's a bigger thing, how many more people might be involved in it? And how many more, is there the possibility for more players to be involved in it, more team personnel to be involved in it, more, the people that are involved in the world of basketball and the myriad ways that they can come into contact with sensitive information or, a problem financially or whatever. Like the many entry points to this being bigger and worse. I walked away from the story being like, that's insane. And also like a creeping dread.
Yeah.
I don't know. And maybe that's me being too pearl clutchy, but that is definitely where I came away from the story.
Yeah, we don't know if they're all connected, even though Moose_NBA, the Twitter account, was connecting the three. On the day that the Terry Rozier news came out, he tweeted, and we discovered this, in our reporting, was I didn't see those three connections being made at all.
Yeah.
And when I got Moose on the phone, he's like, yeah, I know people. In the gambling space, I have people who know things in the NBA, but I also found it from Reddit. And so I haven't found it. And so the people who are listening to this, hit up me and Dan if you have found a Reddit post that says that Malik Beasley is going to be announced as part of the federal investigation in 4 months. It would be news to me. I did not hear that at all. And combing through an unhealthy amount of tweets over the past couple of weeks, Dan, I wasn't able to find someone who had a similar thing. That knowledge of Malik Beasley being wrapped up in this as well. We don't even know what this is.
Exactly.
We just know that they're the Eastern District of New York, according to ESPN, and confirmed by other people, is that they are investigating a gambling probe into NBA players, and one of the people that they're looking at, for whatever reason, is Malik Beasley. And at the end of this, Malik Beasley is a free agent, a guy that was one of the best three-point shooters in the NBA and second in Sixth Man of the Year. And it's, Dan, last year, Terry Rozier was announced to be part of a federal investigation, and he kept playing.
Yeah.
He was under contract. That is not the same situation we have here with Malik Beasley. It's a guy who was on the doorstep, on the verge of signing a huge deal that, as you'll hear in the podcast, and I didn't know this, but the litany of financial troubles that he's had over the years, that he was on the verge of signing what looked like to be a $42 million in that neighborhood, the full mid-level with the Detroit Pistons. And then they pivoted Karis LeVert and Duncan Robinson. And now I think the rest of the NBA, as well as you are, Dan, as well as I am, waiting to see how this plays out with the authorities, with the NBA. Adam Silver talked about it on Tuesday at his press conference at Vegas, said that, we are cooperating with the feds on this one. Is that there's these federal investigations and we're complying. We're cooperating. I will note Terry Rozier was investigated by the NBA in 2023. They closed and cleared that. They didn't find any wrongdoing. The NBA is different than the feds. The authorities have access through subpoenas or some other court orders that they can get a lot more information than the NBA can as a private entity. So Adam Silver said it. He's like, we're only privy to certain information, whereas the government can get more information than we're allowed to see. So we'll see. But what happens with Malik Beasley? What happens with the Pistons? What they do? Do they re-sign Malik Beasley at the end of this if he gets cleared? Who knows? But it does feel like this is an ongoing situation, and one that I encourage people to listen to and go check out the article at TomTheFighter.com. Is just the idea of like, man, the NBA never sleeps. It is just always coming up with crazy stories like this.